Hello, welcome back to Daily Lore video. Uh, I think you don't see that, yeah. Welcome back to the Daily Lore React. We're going to react to this one. Well, I hope it doesn't take that long. I hope it's the fastest video. Let's just get into it.
After we bought our dream home, my mother-in-law moved in temporarily and has taken over everything from cooking to decorating, even rearranging our bedroom without permission. But when I finally spoke, my husband told me I should be grateful for her help. Now they're both making me lose my mind. 6 months.
See with that, I mean, yeah, I can see why that would make you lose your mind. I mean, I would be grateful, but why did she move in the first place? And usually they move out. I will probably learn about this, but I don't get it.
Ago, my husband Mark and I finally purchased our dream home after years of saving. 3 bedrooms, a beautiful yard, and a gourmet kitchen I'd been designing in my head for years. 2 weeks after moving in, everything changed when my mother-in-law Diane.
See, in the beginning, obviously, would be grateful, of course, because it's help. So why not be grateful? But after a while, it's kind of hard to live your married life if you have, unless you want to, that is. If you have your mother-in-law there, or your own mom, either or, it's kind of hard to live your married life.
Called with news that her apartment building was being renovated and she needed a place to stay just for a month or two. Mark immediately offered our guest room without even consulting me. I was upset but tried to be understanding. It was his mother after all, and it was supposed to be temporary. I set up the guest room with fresh linens, clear,
Quote unquote temporary. I have a feeling that won't be temporary. There's going to be something that comes up 2 months later. Or they're going to be like, it's a lot easier for his son. The son is going to be like, it's a lot easier for me to look after her if she lives with us, or something like that. It's some stupid shit.
space in the bathroom, and prepared myself for a short period of adjustment. That was 5 months ago, and Diane shows no signs of leaving. The
Yeah.
problems started subtly. First, she reorganized my kitchen cabinets while I was at work because it makes more sense this way. Then she started preparing dinner every night before I got home, claiming she was just trying to help since I work long hours as a hospital administrator. Mark was thrilled with the arrangement, coming home to his mother's cooking just like when he was growing up. When I tried cooking on weekends, Diane would hover over my shoulder, offering suggestions and often taking over entirely. You're
No, bad. That's just not good. Nobody wants a backseat driver. Same scenario. Same exact scenario. No arguing against that. It's the same scenario. Nobody wants a backseat driver. Same scenario. Nobody wants a backseat cooker or a side seat cooker or whatever it's called. Nobody wants that shit. You don't want me to critique your cooking. So why, or the way you cook? So why you're critiquing the way I cook? That just makes no sense.
doing it wrong, dear. Let me show you how Mark likes it. Soon, I stopped trying altogether. The decorating changes came next. I'd return home to find new curtains, different throw pillows, or rearranged furniture. My carefully selected artwork was replaced with Diane's family photos and crafts. When I questioned these changes, she'd say things like, I thought this would brighten up the space, or Mark mentioned he liked this better. The final straw came last week when I returned from an overnight conference to find she had completely rearranged our bed.
Yeah, but it's gonna make you look like you're the crazy one. This is the problem. You're gonna look like you're the crazy one because obviously the son won't have a problem with this because it's his mom and he doesn't see a problem. That's the thing. He doesn't see a problem. Which is crazy. Honestly, you're in a marriage. It's a marriage between you two, not fucking with your mom. I don't understand. It's supposed to be a temporary arrangement. She was supposed to go back to her apartment. It doesn't.
Bedroom, our private sanctuary. She had changed our bedding, moved furniture, and even reorganized my closet, throwing away clothing items she deemed unflattering or too worn. I finally broke down and confronted her, trying to be respectful but firm. I explained that while we appreciated her help, making changes to our home without permission wasn't acceptable, especially in private spaces like our bedroom. Her reaction was immediate tears. I was just trying to help. I thought you'd be grateful for having a clean.
Yep. Manipulation. Emotional manipulation. That's what she's doing. She's emotional manipulation. As soon as she get called out, she just starts the waterworks. That's just crazy. That's crazy. Oh my god. Ugh.
Organized space to come home to. Mark never complains about my help. Speaking
Of course he doesn't complain. You're his mom. Why would he complain? He probably appreciates your help. But the thing is with the husband, he doesn't understand. He's in a marriage. He's not living with his mom. That just makes no sense. He's in a marriage. He's supposed to be living with his wife only. Unless you want to live, unless you both talk it out and actually want your whoever parents to move in. But that's probably down the line if you've been married for a long time.
of Mark, he walked in mid-conversation and immediately rushed to comfort his mother. When I tried explaining what happened, he cut me off. Mom was just trying to do something nice for us. Why are you making such a big deal about this? Later that night, when we were alone, I tried again to make Mark understand how invasive his mother's behavior felt. He accused me of being ungrateful and insensitive. Do you know how lucky you are? Most women complain about their mothers-in-law not helping enough. Mom cooks, cleans, and makes our house look nice, and all you do is criticize her. She raised me just fine, so I think she knows what she's doing.
Yeah, if she raised you by herself, you're gonna be biased. You're gonna be completely biased. You're gonna be, obviously, it makes complete sense. I get that. I understand that. You're gonna be biased about your mother because she raised you by herself. So, obviously, you're gonna, completely be on her side, even against your own wife that you married, which is stupid, but it makes complete sense. You owe her, you owe her for raising you, or in your mind you do. So I understand why you're trying to defend her, but also this is also backfiring on your part. You don't see what's wrong with this. That's the thing. You don't see what's wrong with this picture, which is the problem. The picture is crooked. It's off. It's not centered. It is off. Which, it's like it's hard to explain to a person that's like this. It really is. But eventually they would understand. Maybe.
When I pointed out that this was our home, not his childhood house, he scoffed. You're always at work anyway. What does it matter who cooks or where the furniture goes? Mom needs us right now, and I won't turn my back on her. The conversation ended with me sleeping in the guest room, so
Why does she need you? It's been 5 months. She can move out and go back to her apartment. That doesn't make any sense. Why does she need to be with you? She doesn't. There's no logical explanation why she needs to be living with you. Unless she has a medical condition or some other conditions that you have, but it wouldn't make sense if she has a medical condition because she's doing so much activity in the house, just changing everything. Also, the problem is changing everything in a house when somebody else picks out what they want in their home. It makes the home not feel like a home anymore. It makes it feel like a stranger's house, even though it's your house.
surrounded by Diane's belongings that have somehow spread throughout the entire house. The next morning, she made breakfast for Mark and pointedly asked if I'd like some, or would that be too controlling? Mark laughed. I didn't. I feel like I'm losing my mind. My home doesn't feel like mine anymore. My husband doesn't see the problem, and my mother-in-law has established herself the lady of the house. When I try to assert any control, I'm painted as ungrateful and difficult. Yesterday,
Yep.
I came home early and
Yep. Everything I just said.
overheard Diane on the phone with her sister, saying her apartment had been ready for months but she was needed here because Mark's wife doesn't know the first thing about making a proper home. When I confronted her, she denied it completely and told Mark I was making up stories about her. He believed her. This morning, I
like I said.
called the apartment building manager myself and discovered that renovations had been completed 3 months ago. When I presented this information to Mark, he shrugged it off, saying, "So what? Mom's happier here with us, and she's being a huge
she's
help."
Not.
I've tried suggesting a timeline for Diane to move back to her apartment, but Mark refuses to discuss it. I've tried establishing boundaries about changing our home without permission, but both of them dismiss my concerns as pettiness. I've even suggested marriage counseling, which Mark rejected as unnecessary drama. I'm at a breaking point.
This is just gonna end up with divorce. I mean, if he doesn't truly understand what is wrong with this picture, then the picture is going to be off the wall. Like, holy shit. At first it was crooked. No, at first when they bought the house, it was completely straight on. Then when she moved in and changed everything, it started crooking off to the side. But now, eventually it's just gonna come off the wall. Like, it's gonna be gone. It's not gonna be on the wall anymore. Like, my god.
Love my husband, but I barely recognize him anymore. He's reverted to being his mother's son first and my partner's second. Our home feels like hostile territory where I have no say. I'm starting to wonder if this marriage is salvageable or if I've already lost both my husband and my home to a woman who was never.
I don't. The problem is, I don't like listening to the story. I would say no, but I don't know how intelligent this person is. I don't know how ready they are to actually live without their parents. Because obviously, I feel like I don't know. It's a mix between he feels, I wouldn't say guilty, but he feels gratitude towards his mom, and the mom knows that, and I think the mom is also doing some sort of manipulation as well, emotional manipulation as well on him, of course. So it's between that. It's those two, I think, in my opinion, without knowing anything.
Supposed to stay. Update. It's been 2 weeks since my post, and several significant developments have occurred. First, thank you to everyone who responded with advice and support. You helped me realize I wasn't being unreasonable or ungrateful. After reading your comments, I decided to take direct action. I booked an appointment with a marriage counselor and told Mark I was going, with or without.
Obviously, you need to take control back in your marriage. I mean, it's your marriage. Either you fight for it, or it just dissolves into nothing. Even if one of you don't want to fight for it, the other one will.
Him. To my surprise, he agreed to attend, though he maintained it was unnecessary. During our first session, the counselor helped me articulate my feelings in a way Mark couldn't dismiss. When questioned directly about why his mother's comfort outweighed mine in our shared home, Mark struggled to answer. The counselor pointed out the concept of emotional fusion, where adult children remain overly attached to their parents at the expense of their marriages. It wasn't an immediate breakthrough, but it planted seeds. The counselor gave us homework. Mark was to reflect on his priorities as a husband versus a son, and I was to document specific boundary violations to discuss concretely rather than emotionally. The real turning point came 3 days later when Mark came home early and found his mother going through my personal files in our home office. She was reading my private journal and had my career performance reviews spread across the desk. Mark finally saw with his own eyes what I'd been trying to tell him. That evening, he had a long, private conversation with his mother. I don't know exactly what was said, but afterward, he apologized to me sincerely for not believing me and for prioritizing his mother's feelings over mine. Together, we established a plan. Diane would return to her apartment by the end of the month. Until then, no changes to our home without explicit permission from both of us. Mark would help her move and visit her regularly, but our home would be ours again. The conversation with Diane was difficult. She cried, accused me of turning her son against her, and insisted we
Yeah,
needed her.
that makes sense. Also, the problem is, I also think Mother is kind of. She has like some sort of uh, syndrome, like fuck, some sort of bird leaving the nest syndrome. Even though he probably left the house a long time ago, but when she stayed there for like 2 months, she probably felt like he was back living with her, which he was for a while, and she did pretty much everything in the house, so she probably felt like she was basically living again. She was probably actually doing something once again. So she probably felt like she was useful instead of living by herself. I'm just going to say that. I don't know for sure because, like I said, this is a Reddit. I can't really tell what somebody actually thinking when they, whatever. This is a Reddit. You can't tell emotion or whatever logic inside of a Reddit. So you just have to come with your own conclusion sometimes.
But Mark stayed firm, supporting me fully for the first time in months. She finally agreed to leave, though not graciously. She's been gone for 5 days now, and I'm slowly reclaiming our space. Mark has been helping me redecorate and reorganize to make it ours again. He's also started individual counseling to work through his complicated relationship with his mother. Our marriage isn't fully healed yet. Trust takes time to rebuild, and I still have moments of resentment. But we're communicating better than we have in months, and Mark now understands that supporting me isn't betraying his mother, it's honoring his marriage vows. For others in similar situations, stand your ground. Document everything. Get professional help if possible. And remember that a marriage can't survive with 3 people in it, especially when one of them is a parent who refuses to respect boundaries.
That's so true.
Introducing the LAR Barista System.
So true. A marriage is between 2 people. Honestly, it's just between 2 people. It's not between anybody else. Unless you're in a poly relationship or whatever it's called. But otherwise, it's between 2 people. And even in a poly relationship, I don't think you could marry multiple people. Whatever. I don't care. But a relationship is usually between 2 people. So obviously, you need to, of course, have only 2 people in a relationship. And a relationship can't survive without communication, without trust, or without loyalty. So obviously, yes, those 3 things are very important. Okay, after we bought our dream home, my mother-in-law moved in temporarily and has taken over everything. And that was Dead Spies, Reddit, Story, React. Have a good day, a good night, a good evening, and a good morning. Okay, see you next time.